I don't know who picked this topic, and I don't know how I drew this topic, because it is not my strength. Especially when it comes to taking time out for fun and joy and all that stuff. I am very good at hitting the pause button in the moment. And I have spent probably the last day and a half, maybe even 3 days, thinking, why is it that ministers have to live their sermon? It's not fair. And then I looked at the subject title for the month of September, which is where this topic came out of in the meditation book we're using. And the theme for September is living the lesson. That's not fair either. As many of you know, I've had a very interesting 3.5 months, to put it mildly. Peggy was saying before the service that she told somebody that her minister didn't move just once. Her minister had moved 4 times since January. And this week I made the decision that we were moving back into the house. Now we had no heat, no air, no hot water, and no kitchen. But it is time to have my stuff in one place, instead of spread out in 5 places over 10 miles. So we moved this week. And I have never had issues with movers. But the last 2 times I have hired movers, it has been an adventure. And I sent Bill to meet the movers Wednesday morning. This is after thinking we were moving Tuesday, and after calling 4 times Tuesday, finding out they had us on the schedule for Wednesday. So Bill goes over and he calls me, and he is so hot that the phone wires that we had in would have been sizzling because of one of the attitudes of one of the movers involved. So I get over there and I call dispatch twice in an hour and a half. And we're finally making the first trip to the house, and I decide that something has to shift. And the place that it has to start shifting is right here. Now, I had already called my practitioner friend twice. So I was calling for prayer. I was doing what I tell you guys to do, and I was actually doing what I say to do, at least in this part of it. And I took a deep breath, and I became a little bit more rational. And I let go of some of my anger, and I decided that I had an idea, some of what was going on, and I was able to let go of some stuff. Come to find out, the guy that really had an attitude had worked 22 hours the day before, and had had time to go home, take a shower, charge his cell phone, get back in the car, and do our move, which ended up being a lot bigger than they thought it was. He still had an attitude. I was able to move beyond that. And then all I had to deal with was Bill's attitude. Now, added to this experience with the move was the day before we had found wasps trying to move into the house. And Bill decides to use wasp repellent to get rid of the wasps. Now, if you ever have this problem, it says on the tin that it works within 25 feet. Use all 25 feet. Bill only used 15 feet. And we spent the next 2 hours in the emergency. Fortunately, it was only 1 wasp they got. but it was not. I mean, on top of everything else and the heat and everything it was not good. But I know that when I took the time to take a deep breath and to truly let go of the appearance of what was going on, and to move beyond my judgment of what was going on, and shift my attitude, the whole situation changed. And that is the power of the pause button. That is the power of stop, look, and listen. It is stopping the thoughts within our mind that lead us down this tangent path to continued disaster. The looking is to remember that there is a power in the universe greater than we are. And in every moment, we are using that power. We are either using it to act or to react. And when we stop, we can move beyond reaction into acting. We can move beyond reaction into another way to do it. And when we listen to that divine knowingness, that divine oneness, that divine God stuff, we come at the situation in a totally different way. And we allow it to unfold. And his choice, after the movers moved the first load, which was only a storage unit and a half, he kept saying, I'll get my son and we'll do it tomorrow. And I really had to stop. I really had to step back and say, okay, it's 90 degrees and the humidity has to be at least 150%. Do I want him out here doing this tomorrow? Or am I willing to use these three guys who really do know what they're doing and are doing a pretty decent job of it if I can move beyond the attitude, which I can? And am I willing to do willing to have them do what I hired them to do in the first place? And I made the choice to do that. And they got everything where it was supposed to be. They took good care of my stuff. And then after I let go of my irritation, they began to let go of a lot of theirs. So it worked. Hitting the pause button and stopping the whirling mind helped. And it helps in many ways. It helps all the time. There's more to hitting the pause button than just hitting that button. Okay, when we hit, especially when we're in the midst of trauma, stuff, life, co-workers, children, partners, and we're being dragged down that, our thoughts are dragging us in a direction we don't want to go. How do we shift? How do we use that pause button effectively? How do we stop the train of thoughts we're in? Because once we step on to that path, let me rephrase that. I won't claim this for anybody else, I'll just claim it for me. Once I step on that path that leads me to all those negative thoughts, negative ideas, the anger, the fear, when I can feel myself getting tense, when I can hear my voice quiver when I'm talking and there's lights flashing in front of my eyes, I know that there's another way to do it. And that if I continue in this frame of thought, I am not going to accomplish anything but to continue to make myself miserable and everyone else around me equally miserable. So how do I hit the pause button? And how do I make that shift? We're doing the 5 gifts right now, and what we are looking at for this week is gratitude. And I realized when I was preparing for this class that normally when it comes to me and my abundance quotient, shall we say, my number one tool is forgiveness. And I realized as I read the book that that's not true this time. My number one area to look at and to be more aware of is gratitude. And when I am in the process of needing to hit the pause button, I need to see what am I grateful for in this situation? Who am I grateful for? What does gratitude feel like? What does gratitude look like? And what does it sound like? And I will say that over the last 3.5 months, it hasn't always been easy to feel and see gratitude. And yet, I know absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt that Bill and I have been absolutely taken care of through every step of this journey. Of the 3 houses that were flooded, ours being the middle one, we had insurance. One didn't. The one that was probably the most flooded did not have insurance. The water remediation guy that showed up to take care of the house, I have been told by many, many people, is probably the best one in Dayton. The crew that came in to put back together the drywall, and our house is double drywall, and they cut the drywall up 2 to 4 feet throughout the entire house, inside walls as well as exterior walls. They did this to my neighbor's house. The guy that did my house is an artist. You cannot see any lines where they put back the double sheetrock, which I guess is a pain even more so than just trying to fix it. You cannot see the lines where it went back in. It looks like one solid wall. My next door neighbor is going to have to take a contractor to court. The neighbors on the other side, you can smell mold when you walk in the house. And I am so blessed by the people who have showed up and the energy they brought into my house. And just even the movers. Yes, it was a pain to move. We moved out as a result of a natural disaster. Our stuff was not packed well, to say the least. As I jokingly said there for a while, my dresser was in one storage unit, and my of our personal items did we have to throw out. I was concerned that we have a sleep number bed, all the electronics was on the floor. It all works. But it's just been, where is the gratitude in this? How do I feel the gratitude? And why do I even want to feel gratitude? Diane Harmony in the 5 Gifts summarizes this way. Gratitude is a diffuser of emotions. When you give thanks, you're purifying your emotional response to life by focusing on love and leaving fear, doubt, worry, shame, and blame behind. The simple truth is that you cannot, at one time and the same time, experience appreciation and any other emotional response. As you continue to be grateful, the reactions that are lesser, darker, or narrower tend to weaken and lose their momentum, leaving you free to be light and loving. In this state, awareness of an abundant life is so easy to see and experience. When we can hit the pause button and move into a space of gratitude, no matter what is going on around us. And there is always something to be grateful for. Every single time there is something to be grateful for. And it may be that you're breathing. It may be that you were able to brush your teeth this morning. It may be that you had something to eat or something to drink, or some basic need being met, but there is always something to be grateful for. And when we can concentrate on being grateful in the situation and grateful for the experience, we let go of the fear, doubt, and the need to blame someone. And we can celebrate life to the fullest. Holmes says there's a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And then he expends to me the majority of his writings explaining to us that we're using it all the time anyway, and we have a choice whether we use it consciously and mindfully, or we just allow the universe to use us. And when we find ourselves in that moment, when we feel that we're a victim, we feel that circumstances are beyond us, that life is not fair, that nobody loves us, that fill in the blank, that's the time to hit the pause button. That's the time to do, think, and feel something different. And it's your choice whether or not you do it. These are very simple teachings. It's just living them that's hard. It's just realizing that we are responsible for how we react to what goes on. I was responsible for my reaction to John. Boy, I hate saying that. Because he pushed every button I have and none of them were the pause button. But I chose eventually to pause. I chose to take a different way and have a different experience. And I kid you not, when I made that choice, I was sitting at a red light, which is pretty telling in and of itself, because the universe had said, stop. I was sitting in a red light, and I just felt peace wash over me. I really did. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps as I talk about it. Because I stopped. I made a new choice. And I knew from that moment on, my day was going to go a whole lot better. It didn't matter how John's went. Listening to John, I'm pretty sure that's how most of John's went. And I feel sorry for him and the people who work with him. I really do. And he was a lovely young man, but I probably need to do some prayer work around John. But let it go. Give it to somebody else. I think a lot of my concern is I could see so much potential and so much loss of who he could be. And that's sad. But that's not my job to fix it. Right. But it is awesome to realize that when we stop, when we look and we listen, just like when we were learning to cross the street, and you don't know how to make that shift, this affirmation, or keeping a copy of the Ernest Holmes affirmation prayer that we read every Sunday, we know that within us there is that life which is perfect, whole, complete, and divine. Just reading those words or saying this affirmation, I surrender to the power and the presence of God within me. Say that with me.
I surrender to the power and presence of God within me.
I surrender to something that's bigger than I am.
I surrender to something that's bigger than I am.
And I celebrate who I am.
And I celebrate who I am.
Can you feel the shift in the energy? Just doing anything to shift the energy, to make a change, to view life differently. It's like changing from your sunglasses to your reading glasses. If you're like me and you need the reading glasses for some print and it's kind of wavy and blurry until you put the glasses on. It's making that simple change. And it is simple. The hard thing is remembering to do it. And I challenge you this week to take the opportunity to remember to do it. To hit the pause button. Or if it was a football game or a basketball game, to call a timeout. Or a baseball game when the catcher, they're pausing and they're doing something to shift the momentum. And yes, the Reds need lots of shifts. But it's a little late in the years. But we all have that opportunity. And what I would like to do now is I would like to ask the practitioners and Reverend Dee Reverend Dee may be yelling. I'd like to ask the practitioners to spread out in the aisles. And we're going to do a prayer chamber. But we are going to do it a little differently than we've done before. We're going to do a moving prayer chamber. So I'm going to ask the practitioners to walk as they pray. And we will see if they can do, no. We'll see if they can walk and pray at the same time. Hopefully they're not trying to chew out the chick. So we will take this opportunity to pray and to know the oneness. And we just take a deep breath and center in this moment. And contemplate the words. I surrender to the power and presence of God within me. And just allow that to feel your thoughts and your ideas.
I surrender to the power and presence of the divine.
There is an only one presence, one divine perfection, embodying you, the creator and sustainer of every living being, of every element of all that is.
We know exactly.
I am one.
We are here to love. Love ourselves. Love each other. Love every aspect of my life. Every cell of my body. Every thought that I think. Every attitude with whom I interact. Every attitude that I express. Recognizing that love, that power, that peace, that presence within this center, within this city, within our homes, within our allness, our wholeness, our wisdom, our divine intelligence. That is one. That is God. That is love. That is peace. That is joy. For this loving peace, for this power, for this presence, for this essence of that
You are in the light.
we
So today, I feel the love, and I explain the love for all of you, for all of me, for all of us. We know that we can do whatever we want to do. We are God's seedlings, on earth. We are a direct representation of God on this planet. I give thanks for that knowing. I give thanks for the knowing for all of you. There is no separation between us and the Spirit. And between us and each other. We are all brothers and sisters. I give thanks for this knowledge. I give thanks for life, this gift of life. And I release my word into law. I release it manifest always immediately. And I surrender to that knowledge, surrender to Spirit. I let go and I let God. Yes. And so it is. Amen. Yes.
And knowing it is good and knowing it is done. In gratitude and thanksgiving, we say, thank you, God. Thank you. So it is. So it is. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I invite you to continue to quiet into a musical meditation. Please join me.